I watched Cloverfield last night from my apartment near downtown Brooklyn. About halfway through the film, the outside noise was really annoying. Like 10 p.m. and there are fucking nonstop sirens, like throughout the evening. So I pause the movie and I go outside to get a closer look. There are not one, but 1 dozen fire trucks on Flatbush right across the street from me. And across the street, there's smoke, a little bit of smoke pouring out of the ground floor bank over there. There's a firefighter on a ladder climbing to the top of this 3-story brick row house as others are scrambling everyone out of the building. And the whole thing went on for like 45 minutes, or at least that's how long I was outside until I decided to go back upstairs and finish my movie. Basically, it seemed to be a pretty minor fire in a second floor apartment, and it was contained. And the 2 stretchers that the FDNY brought out never had to be used, from what I could tell. They were starting to pack up several of the trucks as I left, as I as I wrote this sentence at 11:58 p.m., there were still 2 trucks and an NYPD van down there. It seemed like everything's okay across Flatbush Avenue this morning, but still, I was kind of shaken last night by the whole thing. I mean, the threat of a fire in a crowded city is always jarring, but having it happen while I'm watching a found footage disaster film set in the exact same city, like, takes it to a different level. I paused Cloverfield right about the time our main characters started down the subway tracks at the Spring Street station over in Soho. As a former employee of Film Forum, I'm pretty aware of that area of Manhattan. I'm already having a moment of deep recognition of where I live in this movie, and then they add the sirens and lights both on screen and right outside my window. Anyway, the thing about Cloverfield and a lot of found footage horror movies is that it's filmmaking in first person present tense, the most immediate and action packed of all the points of view. And it mostly uses this motif really, really well. The tension stays high, the adrenaline gets pumping, and it doesn't really let up until the very end. And thankfully, it's all done in under 90 minutes. Thumbs up to you, producer J.J. Abrams. Before finishing up this intro, I did peek out of my living room window, and the last of the fire trucks had driven away. Lights are back on in the apartments across the street, and so unlike the Cloverfield kids, I think South Brooklyn is going to be A-okay. Hi, Cecil.
Hi, Jeffrey.
So how are you getting out of Manhattan if there's a monster attack? Like bridge, tunnel, walk in the streets, you just hide until it goes away.
I mean, hide until it goes away does sound, pretty tight. It
Yeah.
depends on where the monster is and where you're trying to get to.
So like
When
what?
they started,
Oh yeah.
tunnels probably not my
Mm-mm.
first choice. Bridges, at least you can kind of see what's coming if a monster is attacking. But honestly, head north. Manhattan gets really skinny, and so does like the waterways between the Bronx, and it's
Uh-huh.
just head north. That's
Yeah.
probably what I would do.
I think that's a really good plan. It feels like the obvious choice is always to go towards Brooklyn Manhattan bridges
Yeah.
and the tunnels down there because that's more going towards a population center, right? Like
Yeah.
downtown Brooklyn is very populous. It is the most populous of the New York City boroughs. So, yeah, I think going north, head up to Inwood. I don't think the
Yeah.
monster wants to
Head up to
climb that
Inwood,
mountain.
George Washington Bridge. That's what I
Yeah,
would do.
yeah,
Because if you take like with these kids, I'm like, y'all are just heading to another island.
yeah.
You're just going to another island.
Yep. It may be a longer island, but it is still an island.
That's right.
Cecil, once again, I failed to get us a guest for the show, but I did find a writer, a podcaster, a horror lover, and the newest member of the Night Vale writing team. I found us a Brie Williams. Hi, Brie. Welcome back.
Hi guys.
Yay.
Hello.
It's
Yay.
it's great to be back here at Random 9 with
Mm-hmm.
y'all.
Yeah.
So excited. I've never been to New York ever. So
Whoa.
Okay.
so I would be needing to I would be just following the crowd in this situation, I feel like,
Yeah.
for better or worse.
Yeah, that makes sense because yeah, if you don't know which way is
I
up
don't
or
know.
down,
I'm
yeah.
just extra fucked.
And honestly,
Yeah.
it wouldn't really matter. Like whoever is sort of in charge, probably just follow them. I'm sure they have
Yeah.
an exit plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow the confident people. Actually, you know what? I want to change my answer. I try and get on a tunnel, go through one of the tunnels to New Jersey. Nobody goes to New Jersey. So that tunnel's going to be wide open. People in Manhattan do not go there. So I think you're going to have a clear tunnel all the way through.
I think I would hijack the Erie Lackawanna Canal boat, the Erie
Sure.
Lackawanna, and then just sail on over to Hoboken.
Mm-hmm. It's perfect. Monsters don't
Yeah,
attack New
I like
Jersey.
boat idea is good. I'm on board for that.
I like boat.
I like boat.
I like boat. I mean, there's so many boat like where these people were at. I was like, it looks like we can see South Street Seaport, which means if you go to the other side of the island, I'm sure you could hijack somebody's yacht or
Yeah.
fishing craft. I
Yeah.
don't know, whatever you could find in whatever boat is docked outside of Chelsea Piers.
There's kayakers and shit down there. You could take whatever. Yeah.
Hijack a ferry.
So totally. That ferry is sturdy, by the way. So yeah, I think the Staten Island ferry would do well. So this was my first time watching this movie. I think both of y'all had seen this before. Is that correct, Brie?
Yes, I saw it in theaters, and that was the last time I saw it.
Oh wow.
And I that's only half correct for me because I had only seen half of this film.
Oh.
Because I saw it when it came out in 2008. Unfortunately, I made two very serious mistakes that night, which was first to have like 3 margaritas with dinner, and the second was to sit in row C of an IMAX theater
Oh.
to see this
Damn.
movie. So, like, after the Brooklyn Bridge, when they're running through that orange tunnel, that is when I had to leave the theater to projectile vomit into the
Oh my
street.
God.
And it was also the day that I swore that I would never see another found footage film. But I
Yeah.
think I've recanted on that, and I'm like, just don't sit literally up with your nose pressed against the screen of a found footage film
Yeah.
after having 3 margaritas.
And this one in particular is like the shakiest found footage film of all time.
Yes.
Like there were warnings up in theaters when this screened everywhere that was like this movie causes motion sickness. So like going 3 margaritas in already in IMAX Cecil.
Yeah, it was. There were wild times, the early 2000s. It all seemed like fun. I was with a big group of people, and I was like, I don't need any tacos tonight. I'm just gonna drink my dinner.
Like I can't imagine a worse scenario for viewing this film than all of those factors.
And you know what they say, like when you get seasick, like focus on the moon because you may be moving, but the moon is still steady, right? Like it's like a fixed focal point. I was literally for a good 20 minutes, I was literally just focusing on like my shoes because everything else in my field of vision was this like bright light, shaky, up and down. It was like being tempest tossed in a storm.
This movie is unbelievably shaky because even before they get to the action of the film, like the kind of one of the motifs of it is that the guy HUD who has the camera, it starts off at a party for his best friend's going away, but HUD cannot like even when his whole job is get testimonials from people being like, Rob, you're such a great friend, have a great time at your new job in Japan, we'll miss you, buddy, that sort of thing. And he can't not turn the camera around and look at other people while they're doing this. So it's even this kind of like, it is like it's like a ADD cam, right? Like he just can't stay still on a thing. He can't not concentrate on like, oh, this cute girl just came in the middle of this person's sentence, and that adds to it.
Yeah. It's also I think it was that, and it was also the sort of like pitch black with and then like strobe light. There's quite a bit of this.
Yeah. So the found footage motif is set up at the beginning with the kind of like the color test patterns and the emergency services beep sort of sound, and it is Department of Defense footage. This was taken in the area formerly known as Central Park.
I love a formerly known as.
Absolutely.
Oh, so good. So good.
Because your mind is immediately just like formerly? We're not calling it that anymore. It's now Cloverfield or Cloverfield. Because I'm assuming we're going back to the original Dutch.
Sure, we should.
It's formerly New York, formerly New Amsterdam. So now previously formerly New Amsterdam.
Why do you think they changed it?
I don't know.
I can't say. Maybe people just liked it better that way. Who knows? The thing is, this this joke of the formerly known as, I think I've quoted this on the show before, but it reminds me of one of maybe my favorite Simpsons joke of all time, which is Bart and Lisa turning on the television right as Kent Brockman is saying, thus leaving the vice president in charge, and now sports. And it's such
Love
a
it.
good joke by omission. Oh, it's perfect.
It's so good.
So one of the other conceits of this movie is that there was this is a 2008 film, so this is sort of pre cell phone video camera recording ability. Like I think you
Yeah.
could on old Blackberries in the early aughts, but like it wasn't. People were still using small camcorders, and the whole idea is that this is a tape camcorder, which is a little weird because I think by
Yeah.
like 2001 we were all getting on digital, but still, the idea
Well, I
was
think
there
it's
was
like mini. I think it's like a mini DV tape, right?
mini
I feel
DV.
like
Okay,
I think
Mhm.
yeah. So it's like a handy cam kind of situation.
I see. Okay, that makes some sense. But it's two different days, one
Mhm.
recorded over the other, and so the first was April 27th, and it was Rob and who we presume is his girlfriend Beth, like waking up early morning in her father's luxury Central Park
Now,
South
I don't know.
apartment.
I don't know about what this, but this clearly looks like it was shot at Trump Tower.
I
Like
think
I
so.
kind of
Really?
like I paused it
Whoa.
because I was like, okay, it looks like we're at Columbus Circle because I'm
Mhm.
like one of those nerds. I was like, ooh, what is this view? And I was like, okay, I think I see the Symphony Center, jazz, like jazz at Symphony Center, whatever that building is, Jazz at Lincoln Center. I was like, I think this is Trump Tower.
It's according to Wikipedia, it is not. It's at the Time Warner
Oh,
building. The Time Warner
okay.
Center
Nuts.
is apparently where she lives.
And it's also not her apartment, it's her dad's
her dad's
apartment.
apartment. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and that is going to be a thing throughout this film. Do you remember like the days where like just hating on hedge fund babies was like the worst thing you could hate on? Like that was the worst we had to hate on, you know?
It's still fun though.
It is still fun
Still
a
fun.
little
It
bit.
holds up. Yeah.
It holds up.
Or at least it was like fun to like hate on them when they were like in your space. And
Mhm.
now you just sort of, you were like, okay, have it. I don't
Sure.
know. Have this whole fucking island.
That's right. The whole idea there is that these two went out they had like a really great night together, whatever, new love, and then they're gonna go spend a day at Coney Island. She's never been. It's gonna be fun. But then
Oh, right.
boom, we skipped to May 22nd. So the idea is that they had recorded over this lovely day with less than a month later, Rob is leaving. He's having a farewell party. He's got a new job, hedge funding in Japan, apparently.
Mhm.
So we've got let's do our character lineup, our Mouseketeers. We've got
Yeah.
Rob, we've got
Okay.
his brother Jason,
Who looks very similar to Rob.
very
Too similar.
similar. Yeah.
This took me like a good 10 minutes. I was like, wait, these are two different people? Oh,
Yeah.
what? Huh.
The lack of personalities also makes it confusing.
That and the fact that everybody just refers to each other as guys. Hey guys, hey guys,
Hey, guys.
guys. Are you okay? Are you okay, guys? Guys, are you okay? So everybody's guys
Yeah.
except Lizzie Kaplan.
Absolutely.
Lizzie Kaplan is not guys.
No.
She's fucking Lizzie goddamn
Yeah.
Kaplan.
She's Lizzie Kaplan in her wedge heeled boots.
Yeah. I
Just
did clock.
running through them
and
tunnels.
then we also have Lily, who is girlfriend to Jason,
Uh-huh.
in very, very chunky heels,
Mhm.
running around the streets of Manhattan
Yeah.
during Apocalypse film.
Mm-hmm. And then we also have Hud, who is Hudson, who is Rob's best friend, played by everybody's favorite TJ Miller. So TJ Miller looks really young here. I'm assuming this
Mhm.
is maybe his first film role, possibly.
Yeah.
Anyways. But Hud is kind of our cameraman through almost all of this film. So 90% of this film, he's the one carrying the camera. So it's mostly just his commentary. And Hud is your comic relief? Like
Yeah, he's like the archetype doofy best friend with like a nicknamey name who's making joke.
Making joke. He liked girl. He definitely
He
liked
like girl.
girl.
He making joke.
Yeah. He talked too much.
He talk way too much. Honestly,
God.
yeah, I think he actually sort of downgrades the movie just by like a couple percent just because of the constant commentary.
Yeah. I think that's the thing is that he just this character just feels grabbed out of a bag of tropes, right? Grabbed out of a bag of archetypes. It doesn't feel interesting.
Yeah.
Because his number one want is that he wants girls. Like his number one want, he just likes girls, and for whatever reason, for obvious reason, right? He's taken with Lizzie Kaplan's character Marlena.
Sure.
She's very pretty, whatever, but
he's also like met her at a party once.
Yeah,
twice.
they have a past. Okay.
That's right.
A deep dark past that included
he has seen her before.
Yep, we go way back.
She's also a little tropey. Like she's kind of the like sarcastic eye roll girl.
Yeah.
But then, like, compared to the other characters' personalities, you find yourself, I think, kind of clinging to the tropey ones because you're like, they have something.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Like, the other ones are just sort of empty vessels.
Yeah, Rob is literally just a square jaw.
Yeah.
And okay, guys.
Yeah. I mean, to still stay a little New York centric here, but if you're familiar with New York at all, like the Rob, Beth, and Jason all, if they were a neighborhood, they would be Murray Hill, right? Like hedge funders, early 20-somethings, completely devoid of anything interesting happening, right?
They're
and
like, we bought this $3 million loft in NoHo.
Okay, so the drama to start this movie before Monster arrives is that Rob's not sure if Beth is even coming. And then when Beth shows up later, she shows up with Ben Feldman.
With Ben Feldman, who we saw in As Above, So Below.
And Mad Men, and just he's incredible.
Yes.
I love him.
Yeah. Again, very underutilized in this. I was kind of hoping, like, this is my secret wish, was that like we watched this entire movie watching this blonde, blue-eyed guy make his way from downtown Manhattan to midtown Manhattan to go rescue his girlfriend that may or may not be dead. And the girlfriend is dead and Ben Feldman is alive. That was my secret wish. And it would be like Ben Feldman, like cradling her, be like, sorry, you just missed her. Should we get out of here?
That's a very realistic wish. My secret wish was, can we switch to Ben Feldman as the main character of this movie?
It's like, could this be Ben Feldman and Lizzie Kaplan making their own, just the two of them?
Yeah, give him the camera.
Yeah.
We
we learn at this moment that there's, that HUD had been recording over the April 27th tape. Rob is just real broken up. Like, Rob's whole personality is, I don't know why Beth doesn't like me, why she stopped talking to me, blah, blah, blah. And everyone else is like,
well,
I think
it comes out.
I think you stopped talking to her. I think you slept with her. And then we're like, you're moving to Japan?
You like totally ghosted her.
Yeah.
Which, that's a move. If you're going to move to Japan.
Sure.
But then, like, you were kind of
to be so upset about it.
That's the thing
about it. It's almost like our actions have consequences. And I know, like, sometimes you have to talk it through to figure out what those consequences are. But, like, there's always email, man.
Yeah.
You could keep in touch while you're in Japan and she's in New York or something. I don't know, just saying, spitballing here.
Cecil, I don't like consequences. Can we just stop having consequences for anything?
Who does? Causality.
I can't joke about anything anymore. So, yeah, it's obviously really awkward between them. I think the depressing part of this was that somebody mentions that they had been friends forever. So this is like a real When Harry Met Sally type of thing of like, we hooked up after being friends our whole young adult lives. And that's a weird thing to not call a person
Yeah.
after that.
Super weird.
And it's also the day that they keep cycling back to, the Coney Island day, has very like best day of our lives vibes.
Yeah. So what's the deal, Rob?
Like you two literally had like 18 hours of the most awesome sex, and then had a New York adventure. You told her you're going to New York. You're clearly sharing a, you're like on the Brooklyn wheel, or the cyclone, or whatever the fucking Ferris wheel is out there. Smooching at the end. So you just decided no. You just like, no. Ignore.
I had cycled through all of my empathy for Rob within the first 20 minutes of this movie.
Definitely. Yep.
I mean, to be honest, I had cycled through most of my empathy for a lot of these characters when they decided to do a wedding style testimonial for somebody that is like 25 and leaving to go to Japan for 2 years. I was like, y'all, like digital communication he's not dying. It's not like,
How do you have this many friends at age like 24 or whatever he is? Like it is a packed house. Well, before we can really get too far into this, there is an earthquake in Lower Manhattan.
Whoa.
Here in Soho, wherever we are, and there is an explosion downtown where debris flies at them. They're standing up on the roof, so they scramble to get out of there. They see New York One. Love to see New York local channel New York One giving the news saying like there was a capsized oil tanker next to the Statue of Liberty.
Well, that's not good.
No.
That's not good at all.
Somebody called Dawn. We're gonna have to clean up more ducks.
Yes.
Okay. My first big laugh out loud moment in this comedy film is when they get outside and there is something hits the Woolworth Tower or something, I think, down the road, blows up the top of it, and then that thing rolls down the street at them, and it's the fucking head of the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Which, I mean, to be fair, this tells you exactly the size of what you're having to deal with here.
Totally.
And speaking of size, I read that they actually had to, the designer of the Statue of Liberty's head made it to scale at first, but it looked too small. Everyone complained. And so that's actually like a twice as large, and it still looks too small.
That's the thing. The Statue of Liberty is not like, it's not as big as you think it is.
Exactly.
We've sort of it's an iconoclast, but also it's very far away and very much like out there. So you're like, oh, look, I can see it, but it's always like this big. But then when you actually do see it in person, it's really not as big as the image of it in your mind.
And I could understand too if most people are seeing it from a boat coming up to it in the harbor, and it's on a giant plinth, and it's so when you're staring up at it, the head is going to appear even smaller in proportion to everything else below. So I could understand why they would do that. I just sort of laughed that I like that the first thing this monster did was, I'm going to play t-ball with this monument.
Incredible. Yeah. And I think
like to think
that was from the teaser for Cloverfield. Like that, do you remember that viral teaser that was like before there was no title of the film and like everyone went nuts? And I think it was that scene. Was that, do you remember that, Cecil? Yeah.
Because there's no, like, we don't see any monster. It's just like building, fall, and
it's
then
an incredible
like thing.
Effect. Like, it looks great.
Well, and I love that it's like, it has this like wear and tear on it, that it's like, is it melting? It's not gunshots, it's not like it's not just an explosion, but what we will come to realize is like claw rips.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, love it. I love
and just how it looks from the distance, so far away, you can't tell what it is. Like, it's so realistic looking.
Yeah.
When it hits the tower, and you're just like, what the fuck is that?
the collapsing building, because I think it's that whatever building it hits, I think it's a Woolworth building, but
Yeah.
when that thing collapses, like it we're just 7 years removed from watching pretty intense, lots and lots of footage of something else like that happening in Manhattan. So
Yeah.
they make it feel very immediate and very real. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's obviously very intentional, right? The
totally.
like 9/11 stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but I think there's like a throwaway comment off screen. Someone's like, "Is it terrorists again?"
Yeah.
Totally. I was wondering if they were going to do that. I was waiting for just a single mention of 9/11, and that
was
did
it. That's kind of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
one that you get.
I was
Which
happy
is-
with that it
Mhm.
wasn't, it wasn't playing too much into like panicking about that. I mean, I could have used
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more, but I was worried it was going to do the Midnight Mass thing, where Midnight Mass is a movie or a show about vampires that never says vampires. So like it exists in a world where nobody has ever heard of vampires before. So they don't know any rules around vampires. And at least this movie took a moment to just be like, yes, this is not
That
alt
did
universe New
happen.
York where
Yeah.
where 9/11
Yeah,
never
like
happened.
we're just gonna pretend that
Yeah.
that was like a Marvel blip happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so also just fun time capsule note of just everybody taking pictures of the Statue of Liberty head with their Blackberries.
I love it.
That was really nice.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love it. Like, was Vine around? Could you have made a
No.
Vine
No,
of it?
Vine
No.
was not around.
No,
Twitter
nothing?
was
Vine.
technically around, but I feel like 2009 was really when people were starting to like get on Twitter in any reasonable.
It was like
population.
MySpace, Facebook, and like Blogger or something, or like the
Yeah.
top social media sites
Friendster.
of
Not
08.
Yeah.
Friendster's down on the list by 08.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Which, you know what, I actually appreciate, like, because I feel like if, this movie now would have been literally people, like, it would, okay, so Cloverfield 2008 is like one camera. That's it, which is such like a great unifying thing,
Mhm.
and the camera gets passed off between multiple
Yeah.
people, mostly it's HUD. But I feel like if, any sort of found footage now has to acknowledge the fact that everybody has like, titanium hand cameras inside their pockets at all times.
There
Yeah.
is a cool, like that cool moment when they're on the Brooklyn Bridge and HUD is like, it's like when the bridge starts to collapse and everyone's trying to figure out what's happening. And we see another guy with a handy cam that's like trying to look, and like he and HUD have sort of a moment. And you're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, there's like
Yeah.
other points of views that we're never going to see. And that's kind of like a cool thought.
Yeah.
Like there's
Oh,
other people
absolutely.
recording. There's, other stories happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And it's like those people have dedicated, and by that point especially, HUD is sort of dedicated himself. He's like, we got to record this. People have to know, which I also feel like is a very like post 9/11 sentiment of like, we were there on the ground. I kept filming the whole time because because not every single person has a pocket titanium hand camera. So it becomes a thing of like, this could end up on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah. I did have this question for a while, and then I think this movie does a pretty good job of answering it. But I did have the question. It was like, why is this tape part of the Department of Defense records? Like, why is this like a high security sort of tape?
Well, they touch on a lot of different stuff and their misadventures throughout New York.
Well, it's when they get to the military people and the things that the military people tell them and do and what's happening behind the
that's true.
scenes. You're like, oh yeah, this seems like tops. This isn't just somebody down at South Street Seaport recording the bridge collapsing or something.
Yeah.
The military is just very invested in the Rob and Beth love story.
That's true.
Like,
they really are, actually. They're like, no,
watch it.
you're not leaving. You're going to go after, here's a handgun. Good luck to you, sir. Please let us know how it goes.
So they try to hide in a bodega for a bit, but whatever the monster is walking through the streets and wrecking fucking everything. And Marlena was, is sitting on the curb afterwards being like, I saw it eating people.
Yeah.
My question is, what does the Cloverfield monster want? Because late in the film, it's going to kill Hud with its mouth, but not eat him. So is it eating people, or is it just destructo machine?
So there is an answer to this, but it's not like in the movie.
Oh, okay. Damn it.
But I like the answer a lot. And it's that this creature is a baby that has fallen from space, and it's really, really scared.
Oh, no.
And it's just like in a new place, flailing around with its flailing appendages and like just looking for mama.
But it's so scared, it's like sweating bugs.
Yeah.
Like it's like sweating ticks or something.
I think they're supposed to be like parasites of some, like space parasites.
They seem like totally different species.
It's a totally different. Yeah, they're like big spider baby things.
But I think I understood it. I was like, why is it like procreating? You know, it seems like, okay,
that's how I read it.
Like monster comes to
initially.
Earth.
Yeah.
You know, for
like,
domination.
It was like, pregnant with like a bunch of little babies clinging to its body or something.
Yeah.
But
then they look very different.
Yeah. So I think parasite is maybe a good answer.
Oh, that's interesting because this movie doesn't explain what it wants or what it's doing, and which I kind of don't mind. I just was sort of curious because Marlena says I saw it eating people, and then later it doesn't. It puts Hud in its mouth and spits him out.
Yeah, it's like,
But those Starship Trooper bugs, they were definitely eating people.
Yes.
That's what I assumed she was talking about when she's like, I saw it eating people.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. We don't really know what she saw.
Yeah.
And I will have to say, like, at this point, like, that sort of dazed incommunicativeness is like that Marlena is going through is like probably the most like accurate description or depiction of like what I imagine I would go through if this was happening to me.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be like looting, running, you know, like trying to get a good view of things.
Yeah, the looting is weird. Like the immediate looting is pretty weird.
Yeah. Yeah, they cut to a scene of just a bunch of people, and a lot of them are black, looting an electronics store somewhere in Lower Manhattan, which is, I feel like you could have just gotten us in. They wanted us in the electronics store so that we could see news footage on the TV of what the monster was doing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we don't have to go to looting.
Yeah, no, we don't. And also, but you know, Rob needs a new SIM card or new phone for a SIM card or whatever.
Yep.
So before we actually get to that moment, there's a moment where they're all walking toward they're getting onto the Brooklyn Bridge to get out of Manhattan. We're all getting out of Manhattan. But the creature's tail comes down and smashes the bridge, and it smashes right through fucking Jason.
Yeah.
And whoops. And so now we're like, well, the Brooklyn Bridge is out. Lily, for some reason, is upset about this. And they're running back into town. So the question is, do we go to Delancey Street? You know, we go to the Williamsburg Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, Tunnel. What are we doing? And this is when Rob gets this new SIM card, gets a voicemail from Beth saying she's trapped in her apartment. A wall collapsed onto her.
Would you go? Would you take that adventure to go through like, I don't know, 2.5 miles of active alien war zone to go rescue somebody that might still be alive?
Okay. Yes. If this is somebody I've been friends with for a long time, we had just had this moment. Like, the acting choices of Rob, or just the character choices of the writer writing Rob, I don't necessarily feel strongly for his reaction to everything, the emotional outbursts and things, but I think deep down, you know, this person is a friend of mine, whether or not you lost your love. It's playing too much in the romantic love thing, is what I'm saying. But I think the idea is that if what they said earlier, that they've been friends for 10, 12, 15 years, and they had this big emotional moment in the last month, and I think I would, right? I think I would.
I would too, but if I'm Marlena or Lily or HUD?
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would have
Good
been on
luck
that first
with that,
chopper
Rob.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, we'll rendezvous in New Jersey.
Especially Marlena, who does
Especially
not
Marlena,
know
who's not even
anyone.
friends with anyone.
No. No, she was. Is she friends with Lily? Is that the deal?
She
She's
might have been
friends
friends
with
with
Lily.
Lily.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's gonna stick with Lily. Lily's gonna go with Rob because she's friends with Beth and Rob, and she just lost her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend,
Yeah.
who's Rob's brother. So
And-
like, yeah, it's
It makes sense that they stick together, I think, but
Yeah.
yeah.
it makes enough sense.
Do you go help?
But if I was Marlena, no, I would.
No, no. Cecil, what about you? Let's go through our list of everyone you know, and then tell us where the line
Okay.
is drawn of
All
who
right.
you don't.
Would I rescue you in Cloverfield? Here we go. Starting with the A's. No, I absolutely think I would. If there was like a chance that a friend of mine, like I know where they are, know where their apartment's at. Granted, it is a high-rise apartment that I'm like, well, hopefully the building's still there.
Uh-huh.
I think I would give it a shot.
Yeah. Especially with voice confirmation from them telling you that they're still
Yeah.
alive and this has
Mhm.
happened to them.
Yeah. And she says like I can't move,
Yeah.
which indicates that she's like pinned against the wall or
Mhm.
something, not that she's
Yeah.
like her leg has been blown off or something like that.
Or the worst
Yeah.
case, you get all the way up there and she's already found a rescue helicopter and left, and then you're stuck in the fucking
I know
Columbus Circle.
Well, that was what I was thinking. I was like, what happens if you get there and her apartment's just empty?
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna live with that for the rest of your life. Be like, she just disappeared.
Yeah.
Anything could have happened.
Man. All right. So Rob kind of gives them the out. Also this is where we learn on the electronic store footage there's these like tiny baby spider monsters coming off of the Cloverfield beast, and
Adorable.
super cute.
Adorable.
Oh, I need a plushie, one of these fuckers.
Can I get a Squishmallow version of that?
So Rob is like, I am going to Columbus Circle to get Beth. And Lily says, I'm going with you. And so at this point, HUD and Marlena are too. He does give them the out to be like, no. Y'all go save yourselves. I am doing this. This is my thing. They're like, no, team, Fox Force 4, whatever. We're going to go do this.
My issue is like in how direct everything is and how little kind of seeming like strategy they're employing a bit. It's like head north. I'm like, okay, and some army guy goes, oh, you don't want to go there. That's where the monster is. That's where like the heat of the battle is. You can also kind of like skirt west to go. Like any New Yorker knows, there's always a way around. Sometimes like your most direct route, you kind of sometimes got to go a little bit south to go north.
Right.
Like if they had gone like all the way to the pier, it would have been straight sailing like up the west side.
Yeah.
And you would have had, I don't know, many, many boats that you could have gotten on, cars you could have stolen, many things to steal.
Just a quick shot.
Pedicabs, horses.
Oh yeah, we do get that shot of the like runaway Central Park horse and carriage.
Yeah.
Why isn't anyone utilizing that?
I know,
right?
For real.
That's like an actual very useful mode of transportation in a situation like this.
I thought of the Night Vale crew when that scene popped up of the horse and carriage just walking through there, because on one of our tours, we were in San Antonio and our hotel was on the south side of the river where there was all kinds of construction. So there were literally piles of rubble everywhere. And then
like our hotel was behind a pile of rubble.
Yes. And we would see at all hours just these horse and carriages riding by through the piles of rubble. And we were sort of beside ourselves in this like surreal hellscape that is this one 8-block area of San Antonio that's fully under construction. So anyways, I was like, oh, we're in San Antonio now. Don't know how we got here.
So romantic.
So they're going against police orders, but they get down into the Spring Street subway station because there's like gunfire with the army and whatever.
Yeah, we've hit active war zone, tanks,
Yeah.
Bullets flying.
Yeah.
And I think like right before they go in the tunnel, that's when we see the monster's face kind of more for the first time.
Mhm.
So you get some more detail. There seems to be teeth everywhere, just like in places where there aren't normally teeth.
Yeah, like is it an arm? Is it a jaw?
A New York Times review from the time called them multiple grabby appendages. I'm like, yeah, that's
great. It's like what you get your mom to like, you know, the grabby thing, the like
oh yeah,
so
to
she
get
can,
the
like,
cup on the top shelf.
that's
Yeah.
right.
My
As
God.
seen on TV.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're down in the subway tunnel. I'm gonna say this is like the first like choice that I just think is ludicrous at this point, which is to walk through subway tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing I know about living in New York is that I know that there are certain things that shut down the city, but almost never does it shut down the whole city. So there's always,
I
and
think there might be a
listen,
train. Just
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you know, there's still a train running somewhere, and if it's not an actual, and if it's not an actual train that's in service, they could be clearing trains out of there, right? It's a
No, that's
disaster.
true,
Save
yeah.
the trains you can get, just move them. So the idea that there would be no trains in the tunnel to me is bonkers to make that
They
assumption.
all seem confident too that like there's not going to be trains.
yeah, they're like, no,
It doesn't even come
no.
up. They don't even mention it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like at no point to say, what if a train comes?
No.
And also I would think like I don't know, like trains would be a really useful way to get, I don't know, like army men from one place to another when there's a big giant monster up top.
Yeah, especially when the subway tunnels actually don't seem to be very affected by this disaster up top. So like they're really underutilizing the subway system in this crisis.
Yeah.
Except
Also,
these
those
subway
fucking-
tunnels are indeed filled with space spiders.
Space spiders, yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah.
So yeah, they're going through yeah, the other thing about the tunnel, even if you know that there's no subway, is they're so dark. And
Yeah.
it's not just the rats, it's the notion of like everyone fears, I don't know if it's true or not, but everyone fears that there are like societies of people who live in the MTA tunnels.
Mm.
And so
Well, I mean,
I would
have
be
you
scared of whoever's down there.
you've seen the film Dark City, right?
Oh, sure.
No, not Dark City, the
Okay.
horror film. Is it Dark City? Oh shit.
Oh,
No,
is there a documentary? Are you talking about the documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Desperate Soul? Wait, oh no. Okay. Scratch all of this. I
Dark
don't know.
Days? No.
Dark Days.
Dark
That's
Days? I think that's it.
Okay. Is this about people, a documentary about people who live in the subway tunnels?
yeah, that have like made communities down there. And then what happens when the city kind of comes in? They're like, hey, hey, do you want to live up top? We have some apartments. Do you want to try that for a bit?
Nope. Does it
And
does
I've
it
also
ever
seen
work?
Chud, which
Oh,
And
sure.
we've all seen Chud.
we've all seen Chud. Another great documentary.
That's my favorite. That's the best.
I think the angriest I got at this movie is right before this moment when before they go into the tunnels or in the Spring Street station, and Rob gets a call from his mom and he tells her what happened to Jason. So it's a sad bummer of a moment, and Lily is sitting next to Rob comforting him, right? Obviously, like big emotional moment. And fucking HUD turns to Marlena, putting the camera on her, being like, I don't really know what to say. What should I say? I feel like I should say something. And I'm like, you're his. Why are you putting the emotional labor on this rando to do your work for you? You're his best friend. Maddening.
Yeah.
I would like to point out, in 2008, did cell phones work underground?
No.
Because there was a
No.
definitive moment in which cell phone technology, you was like, oh, I'm going underground. I gotta say goodbye.
Yeah.
Click.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I think it was around like the smartphone switch.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can talk to his mom, like the fact that there's cell phone service, That's
there's like a
shocking to
weird thing
me.
where it's like his phone doesn't work, and then they break into the electronics store, and I guess whatever he picks up at the electronics store
It gets like a
somehow
battery.
Is it just a battery? Is it just
or
that
a
his battery
charge?
died? Okay,
I don't know.
I was
Is it a pre-charged battery?
Unclear.
Yeah.
Unclear.
It's also the way that whole scene, I was like, he doesn't answer anybody's question. He just sort of like takes off running and is like,
Yeah.
so I'm, a literal like white knight on a steed. And there's like people, his friend, like Lily is hurt. Marlena is like non-communicative because she just saw a monster eat a person. HUD can't put the camera down because he's like now, trying to document the end of the world. But like the communication between this group of friends is not great. And so that was the first part. The other one was when they're so spread out over the Brooklyn Bridge. And like Rob gets a call. I think it's like he finally gets a call from Beth, but has to like stop the flow of traffic and starts like does that thing. And I'm like, walk and talk, bitch.
Oh my God.
Not only walk and talk, but also like if you're with a group, you'll need to like be in a group, like link arms or something, like Wizard of Oz, that motherfucking shit.
Yeah.
Because that's why your friend's dead, is because you had to stop and take a cell phone call as opposed to take a cell phone call that is mobile, a mobile phone.
Yeah, you don't have to stop.
And do that thing like, no, I'm sorry. Could everybody just shush? It's really loud here. Wait, can you just give me 1 second? I'm going to go outside. And then he just jumps off the Brooklyn Bridge.
Another life hack that a lot of people don't know is you don't even have to answer your phone. Finish doing what you're doing. Are you on a date? Don't need to answer your phone.
You don't.
Are you using the bathroom? Don't need to answer your phone. Is your city being attacked by a monster and you're running to safety? Don't have to answer your phone. Doesn't matter. Finish your thing, and then you can call them back when you are ready. Okay, so they go through these tunnels. It's dark. It's scary. They
have one light.
They have one
That was
light
the other thing.
on the
that was, I was
camera.
like, wait, y'all don't have a light? Y'all didn't think no, you were literally just sheltering in a bodega. No, nobody got a flashlight. Nobody got a wet rag to put over your mouth. Nothing.
No supplies.
This is really good. This is a good horror moment, though, right? Like we start with the rats. Ooh, rats, gross, rats everywhere.
But like, they're all running in one direction. Like, what are the rats running from?
You need to be running as fast, if not faster, than those rats. Is 100%. What my immediate thought is.
Yep. Don't ask questions. Just follow the rats.
Because it's okay. Worse, it's monster. Monster's pretty bad. It could also be flooding the fucking tunnel that you're in.
A train,
with seawater.
Perhaps?
A train. Well, the rats actually the rats don't give a fuck about the train.
Sure.
That is their hallmark of a New York City rat. They'll be like dragging a piece of pizza across a track up until the last second, and then they just sort of get down real low. So like trains, maybe not with the rats, but I was like, there might be like, I don't know, half the Atlantic Ocean heading up at you.
Yeah. But it's not the rats we should worry about. It's oh shit, monsters on the ceiling. It's the face huggers, basically. It's kind of what
these we get
are.
With the great reveal of like HUD using the night vision feature on the Handycam. So he's the only one, he and us, the audience, are the only ones who can see the actual monsters in the tunnel, which is really awesome.
And it's like he's got those like, and it does that thing where it has like the weird inverted eye thing, and you can see there's like two of them like right up above him.
Yeah, incredible.
And HUD's just like, run! Hey guys! Listen, the amount of time I heard somebody say guys. And okay. So
well, there was a lot of ad lib in this movie, so that's where we're at.
Yes. Yep. Guys, just run, guys. Okay, guys, run.
Marlena gets tackled by one of these things. HUD gets tackled by one of these things. Marlena actually like fights the thing off of him. Like they managed to fight all the monsters off and get free. But Marlena gets bit real bad. She has got bite marks all down her back. But the good news is they made it all the way to 59th Street, so they just have to cross Lower Central Park. That's very impressive. They made
Yeah.
it past Grand
Like,
Central.
that's really far.
There's also like right after the spider attack, they end up in some kind of break room or something like for transit employees.
Uh-huh.
Which I'm like, okay, like this seems like a good bunker. Like you're in here with
Yeah.
like vending machines,
Yep.
like doors, you're underground.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Mhm.
maybe we don't need to go any further.
This was like the chopping mall thing, like when they end up like hiding out in some place and they know in chopping mall that the machines are essentially just looking for movement. And when they don't see people running around, they shut down. So I'm like, you know what?
And
You're
they
you're
don't
in
go
the
into the
pizza.
stores.
Yeah,
So you
you're
just
in the
hide in the
pizza.
store.
You're in the pizza parlor. Hang out, eat pizza, wait till morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
that's
just
right.
yeah. But there's also this thing is also attached to like a I don't know, like a department store, a Primark or some shit down there.
Right.
I don't know my 59th Street station very well, but
Some sort of mall of some kind.
Some
And
sort of
here
mall.
we have it in all of its glory. The J.J. Abrams extra bright wall of light
oh
coming
yeah.
right at the fucking camera. The like unearthly, is it Close Encounters of the Third Kind? And this is like, is it Spielberg? Is it J.J. Abrams?
Right.
No.
It's
That
his
is blue white.
it's his Spielbergian lens flare, right? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
That's his trademark.
But it's clearly
Oh.
not daylight.
Right.
And if
yeah.
I see cities in shambles, aliens everywhere, military, mass panic, dogs and cats living together, etc. And there's a mall that is eerily quiet, that is being lit by a giant sourceless floodlight that is clearly not daylight. I ain't going in that mall.
No.
Or at the very least, I am not walking down like the center perfume aisle. Like, I can guarantee you that. Like, I'm sticking to the sides. We're going service entrance only.
Well, it turns out the army is using this J.C. Penney's as their sick ward and
like triage,
yeah.
military base, operation command center.
Yeah.
I love this scene because after watching like these, like this point, it's been, like our last kind of big person set piece has been the Brooklyn Bridge. And then we've had the people in the tunnel.
And the tunnel fight.
Kind of,
the tunnel fight's incredible.
The tunnel fight's really great. But like, I love this sort of like panorama of chaos pandemonium.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've got army guys talking to each other, talking to our protagonists. Rob is going full Karen on them. I like because they're like,
really is.
He's like, sir, this city of 8 million people is being evacuated and we're in charge of that. So you have to shut up and get out of my face, as we're also a top secret military bunker who's doing shit that we can't talk about. And he's like, yeah, but my girlfriend, who I kind of wronged the other day and I'm starting to feel bad about it. Like, I need you to understand how much she means to me. And that I do feel bad. I've been reflecting on it all evening. I need to see her.
I feel like that's ultimately like why they are like, you know what? Just go, sir. It's not out of sympathy. They're just like, okay, please leave.
Well, they kind of had the military's like, they're like, I don't know. We don't even know what these things are. We're getting out of here.
Yeah, we're all leaving.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't this where we learn about like Operation Hammer Down or whatever?
Yes.
It's called, yes, so good.
Hammer Down.
So good. Hammer Down Protocol.
That's it. Hammer Down Protocol.
When in doubt, just blow it the fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
Because do you think the military would just be like, I don't know, too big, blow it all up?
Absolutely. Yes.
Just a bomb.
Like, yeah. I mean, our first choice, they're like, we're going to, do some little bombs, shoot it with rockets and missiles. We got the tanks going. If that doesn't work, plan B, we're just gonna blow up Manhattan.
Yeah.
Because that's where it is.
I mean, they blew up Houston in Independence Day.
They've done it before.
Yeah, that's what the army guy says. He's like, if you want to go to Columbus Circle, fine. But just so you know, the secret military operation is at 0600, we're blowing this island up. So you better be out before then. Whatever you do between now and then, up to you.
Also insane that he's like, okay, just get on the last rescue chopper at 6 a.m. But I'm like, are you evacuating an entire city of this size on like 2 helicopters? Like, what is the plan?
Well, I guess the idea is that most of the people would have gone out in those massive groups that we saw earlier,
but like
that
the
they were walking the other way.
Yeah. I mean, like, how did they?
But
there's
like,
so many people in New York.
There are so many old people in New York.
Yeah,
Can you imagine all the old people pouring at like,
Well, I was just gonna say, one of the things per my intro, one of the things I was watching standing outside so late last night, one of the things I was watching, so this is like a 3-story brick, row of townhomes, but the ground floors are all businesses, second, third floor apartments. Well, there's just so little smoke, you can't really see where it is, but you could see in the second floor window, the lights are on in some apartment, and you could see a person just kept coming into the window and looking at the fire, like the firemen outside. And I was like, ma'am, you need to get out. And then eventually they sent firefighters up into each of the doorways to go up there, and they started bringing people down. It was just this like semi old lady. Like, she didn't look like my mom's age, right? Like, she seemed with it.
But she's like, I'm not going nowhere till nobody tells me anything.
Yeah, and I think New York is filled with those people too. So to your point, Brie, I'm like, you have 2 4-seater helicopters. What is your plan?
And when we get to that point, not to skip ahead, but like, there's not a crowd there. There's no one.
No, not at all. There is no like Fall of Saigon looking shit happening on these helicopters. No one's fighting for a spot.
The helicopters are empty.
Yeah.
It's like really the least popular ride at Disney World.
I was going to say, I think these helicopters...
Like, you can wait in line for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Or you can get right on this one.
These helicopters were like 3 stars on Google, so nobody's going to them anymore. Oh, nobody rides the helicopters to escape New York anymore.
No. Not since Snake Plissken.
No. Okay,
also,
so...
famous Statue of Liberty decapitation.
Yes.
Okay, the other thing that happens before they get out of here is that Marlena is feeling bad.
Uh-oh.
She is bleeding from the eyes, and then suddenly they're like, we gotta bite her. We gotta bite. And they grab her, bring her into the blue concussion
the translucent tint.
Yep.
It has to be translucent because Jeffrey, tell us why.
They're gonna explode her in, like a red dye filled super soaker.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Why did she explode?
I don't know.
And
is there something inside of her, or are they just gonna like, I don't know, like just pump her up with water to see how much water she can hold?
It's like, my first question is, why does she explode? But then my immediate second question is, why aren't more people exploding?
Yeah.
Right.
If that's like a thing.
Yeah. I didn't understand this at all. I kind of anticipated that we were going to get more about exploding people.
Yeah.
That we would find out that maybe HUD had been bit, and later he's like,
all we get.
But we don't.
We get one.
Get one. And that's it. And I don't know.
One is enough, you guys. One is enough.
Plenty. I had plenty.
Admittedly, this is the moment where I was like, I love this because this movie the reason I like this movie is that it makes me feel like I'm a kid watching a Steven Spielberg movie in the 80s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has that sort of like E.T., you know, just men in hazmat suits coming to take people away. Lizzie Kaplan is clearly Indiana Jones's love interest. You know, like it has that kind of high Spielberg 80s kind of feel to it.
Yeah. Well, sadly, Marlena doesn't make it.
No.
HUD's a bit broken up. Lily's broken up. Rob's like, cool guys, but I gotta go get my girlfriend. So they're like, all right, just give us a second, dude. Jesus. So they get to her building, the Time Warner building over at Columbus Circle, and it is leaning sideways against some other apartment building.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Huh? Yeah.
And
This'll be a
her apartment is
challenge.
like up on, I can't remember what floor they say,
39th.
but it's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will
It's
be a
near the lean.
challenge.
Their first react, so their plan here is go into the building that's still fully upright,
Yeah.
find where the lean is connecting, and then cross over to the top of that building, and then go down the stairs to go find. Okay, sure,
That
this
sounds
is fine.
alright.
My only complaint here is that when they get into the building they're going to go up, Rob's first thing is, let's take the elevators. Oh, damn, the elevators
Yeah,
are out of
what
service.
the
I'm like,
fuck,
Yeah.
I
Rob?
100% am not
No.
getting on those elevators.
No,
Of course not. In a building that has collapsed? Like, what are you doing?
No, well, and it's not the collapsed one
Oh,
they're
it's the
in.
it's the next door one.
It's the
Yeah.
next door one, but I'm like,
But
oh
those
no,
elevators
absolutely
are,
not.
those elevators are out of operation, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
Like for your safety and ours.
because if
Yeah.
you get
I mean,
stuck,
there's a whole building
Yeah.
leaning on it.
I would rather die in the firefight with the monster or get devoured by the monster or have a building fall on me than get trapped in an elevator
Yeah.
in a city that no one can rescue you.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
that is just you 7 days starving out.
Yeah.
That's how you die.
Well,
Quite frankly,
actually,
it's boring.
Only 12 hours
Oh yeah, that's true. You would,
before
you only have
get
to
nuclear
Mm,
exploded.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
So merciful.
Yeah.
true. So they take the stairs all the way up. They have to cross over to the other building. This, I would imagine, Cecil, if you had that one night back in 2008, if you had just had one margarita, I bet this would have been an amazing scene on the IMAX.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
This force perspective is really cool
Uh-huh.
and very dizzying.
hmm
I'm not okay with heights, in general, especially like exposed heights.
Yeah.
Yeah, being like going to the top of the Rock or the Empire State Building or some like tall building shit. Like I'm not here for that whatsoever.
Okay.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, when they lean their heads against the windows of the Sears Tower, like, nope, 100% would never do that. So
No,
even on
same.
my TV watching this movie last night, I'm like, it's dizzying. It's
Mhm.
really scary.
Yeah.
Like watching people free climb. And it's also the thing that like, like they've taken something level and then they're like climbing up
Mm-hmm.
like what our brain is trying to, like it's just the perspective shift
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
much creepier. And I think it's even worse when they're coming out and it's like you can see all the way down to like Columbus Circle.
Yeah.
And we had that cool monster fight bit.
Uh-huh.
That's where I would be freaking out. Like going up, I'd have no problem. Coming down where I could like see the 40 floors below, I'd be like, oh, if I tumble, I literally just slide to my death off of this fucking building.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I would have a minute of pause.
Yeah. So I feel like this monster is chasing these characters around town.
It does.
Well, I think that they're saying that the monster has sort of always been in this area, right? Well, I because I don't know New York geography very well, so maybe I'm confused.
At the beginning, the monster, when they leave, their apartment is in Soho because they're right near
Okay.
Spring
South.
Street Station.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Soho is south of Houston. Houston
Mm.
Street is essentially, if you take the New York City grid, Houston is First Street.
Okay.
So 100th Street,
Mm.
59th Street is 59 blocks north. 20 blocks is a mile. So Columbus Circle is 3 miles straight north of Houston. And then
Okay.
they're at a diagonal because Soho's a little bit more central, whereas Columbus Circle's a little bit more west. But this creature starts, more than 3 miles, 3-4 miles away from where they're at.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of, and it's running downtown because it ends up at the bridge, at Brooklyn Bridge, which is
Yeah.
right near the south tip of Manhattan. So that's several more miles south of Soho. So it goes all the way down to the Brooklyn Bridge, turns back around, goes 6 miles back north to Columbus Circle, and ends up in
Wow.
Central Park. So I'm not sure the path of the creature.
It's just doing its own thing.
It
It's
is.
having a little shopping day. You know,
It's
it
just
wanted
running
to,
around. I mean, it's
it
just
wanted
like,
to see
true.
it wanted to see the tree. It wanted to see the tree at
it's just it's a scared baby. It's just
Yeah, it
running
is a
around in
scared baby.
circles.
Yeah. Yeah. It had to hit the craft fair at Union Square, you know, all
That's
that
right.
sort of stuff.
Go see the Sex in the City apartment building.
Sure. Yeah, we
Or
got to get
the
Magnolia Bakery on this
yeah, you got to
trip.
get Magnolia Bakery in there.
Grumpy
You got to go. No,
coffee.
you got to
Yeah.
go to the Friends apartment.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you'll see your favorite soap opera star. Who knows? Anything
Sure.
could happen in New York. Is that Susan Lucci? Where? I don't know.
So this like treacherous climb over the tilty building is even scarier because every so often these like F-18s are just screeching
Oh,
overhead.
yeah.
And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's really good. Because then it's the disorienting camera swoops up to catch them and then back down.
Mhm.
But they make it into Beth's apartment and she is impaled on rebar.
Yeah, just like
Absolutely.
one right in the pec,
Yep.
like right in the pectoral.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fully impaled. But otherwise fine.
But totally, I thought she was dead. Like,
Yeah,
literally, because I had
they
only
milk it.
had seen like 30 seconds or 30 minutes of this movie. I was like, oh no, you came back and your girlfriend's dead. That sucks.
So an extra I need from this movie, the prequel even. I would watch this prequel. I want to see how she got impaled. So if you watch this movie, you see how her body is positioned and you think about what causes rebar to come exposed into a house. I just want, kind of like maybe a crime scene investigator, I want you just to do a reenactment of how you think she was impaled through the back.
Through the back. Yep.
Coming out her shoulder blade, but she is on her back laying flat that way.
So she fell backwards onto it somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is that we think that's what it's going
but
with?
why?
And she's like on the
why-
downslope. It's like the building started to like sag, and she stumbled backwards.
Is that what? That's the only thing I can really think of as to what happened. I would sort of presume that you falling the weight of, say, guessing her weight, 110-pound woman.
Yeah.
You were
Falling
just going to
backwards,
go ow and then sort of like roll off.
But
You
also
just
like
bounce off.
that upper body, everything, like, I don't know, skin and bone are pretty resilient. You're gonna break a bone falling onto rebar like that, but it is not going to impale you at that weight. Whatever. It's a movie. I don't care. But I just was
maybe
kind of like,
when the building kind of collapses, like the force of the collapse, like maybe she flew backwards with some force.
Yeah, could be. I was
maybe
just trying.
Maybe Ben Feldman threw her.
Maybe he murdered her.
Maybe he murdered her. Maybe he, or didn't even murder. He was gonna like, just be like, I'm out of here.
Okay, yeah.
Threw her into the thing. I'm gonna go catch one of those many helicopters that are leaving.
Just
right
trying
now.
to escape. She was just in his way.
That's right.
Just casually pushed her aside.
Another good horror movie moment, which is where you don't show the violence, but you hear the violence, which is them having to pull her off of the rebar.
What a sound effect.
Up.
It's like,
yeah. Like it makes like a Tupperware sound. And again, it's like, you guys know that you're going to go, like, you're now like fully on a rescue mission. You didn't bring like alcohol swabs or
gauze,
a tourniquet. Or
all they have is a handy cam.
They have, but that handy cam has got to stay on.
Yeah. This is usually the part of the found footage film that I start getting real worn out by the motif of found footage.
Yeah, the like,
because
keep the camera, keep the camera, keep the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, because it, especially when at the very end, when it gets to Rob and Beth, and I'm like, absolutely not.
That's, hilarious.
Where so bad.
They take the camera from his dead body or whatever.
Yeah,
they take the camera from Hud's
it's like they're
dead
running
body.
away and then they come back for it. They come back for the camera.
And for him and for Rob to be like, it's important that we say our names and that we were here.
Right.
And he puts it on her and in my mind, if I'm her, I'm like, put the fucking
Yeah.
camera down and hold me. Like,
Yeah.
we love each other. Let's be with each other. Let's
Yeah.
concentrate on the thing in front of us. Fuck the fucking camera.
No, it was a very like there must be a testimonial because it was the before times when there wasn't like TikTok videos of every moment of our lives all the time. It was like, no, like if we're filming something, this is an important thing.
Yeah. There's this, I'm sorry, I really need to make this tangent because this is something I've thought about before, which is, there's this long refrain, especially in the era where we have iPhones or whatever, like so we can do selfies and videos that, you go to concerts and you see, younger people oftentimes have their cameras in the air. And there's just kind of this complaint about, hey, just enjoy the concert, put your camera down, whatever. But it's funny of how long this has been in existence that we have to use cameras to sort of take the soul out of something in order to record it. And I just think about growing up in the 70s and 80s, it was always the family portraits thing. Like whether you went to Olin Mills or whether or not it was a Christmas portrait of like, dress up, we have this day, you sit right here by the fireplace and we do this. And I'm like, this is 100% not how we exist. And one of the great ways I feel that we could like share our love with someone else is just to talk to them, that they don't need this superposed portrait.
Wait, they don't want a glamour shot? Do I? Oh,
I want a glamour shot.
You don't want my yearly glamour shot? You just want me to like ask you how your day is or something?
I prefer that to expressions of love. Just give me your glamour shots.
I will wear a denim jacket and I will put my chin upon my fist for you, Brie.
With like fringe. I don't know, maybe a feather boa.
Yes, please.
But you just want me to say like, I don't know, you look nice today.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I love you. I've always loved you. Blah. No. Show me a photo.
Yeah.
So, okay, before we even get to that ending sequence, we got her out of there. We're going to get out of there. We're going to make this dash for the helicopter. Lily makes it onto the helicopter, but they're like, this ride's already full.
That one's full.
You got to wait for the next one. So we presume Lily made it out.
I assume so.
It's a weird end to a character to have
Do we not see that helicopter go down?
I was a little confused. It feels like they're setting us up for, like she has like real sad face, like pressed against the window. I was like, oh girl, I don't think that helicopter is going to make it.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell though.
It is really hard to tell because there's so much chaos. I don't think it does. I could be wrong. I could have missed it. I just remember feeling like what a weird end to Lily's arc. But we get Rob and HUD and Beth onto the next helicopter. We see this really cool overhead scene of them bombing the monster.
Like carpet bombing.
So good.
We're using the B-2 bomber. The B-2 bomber was in effect over New York City bombing this monster. And then the monster rises up and attacks the helicopter they're on.
Yeah.
From 2,000 feet in the air, they spin and crash into Central Park, and they are fucking alive.
Yeah.
How? How do physics work?
Yeah, I know, right? Like they're
especially
really
Beth, who has been impaled previously.
She has a pre-existing condition here.
The extent of their injuries is Rob is like, "Ow, my leg," and then he's like walking with a limp.
Yeah, they're fine.
Like
the pilot's dead.
How did the pilot who's trained in this shit die?
Why are you flying right next to this monster? I was like, should the evacuation route be anywhere where the monster is not?
Yeah.
I mean, not next to the monster, not tangential to the not parallel to them, but away from the monster.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. I do not understand how they survived this helicopter crash. It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
How is Dale Earnhardt Sr. dead and these people are alive? It makes zero sense to me whatsoever. Okay.
But this is where there's another is, and this is the same monster that like picks up Hud and bites him in half or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the perspective, again, going back to the Statue of Liberty, it's like seeing it up close, it's not as impressive, I gotta say.
That's
You know?
true.
Like it seems, I was like, oh, this one's like a little more like from like when you were standing at the trunk of it, it doesn't seem as big as it did when it was attacking the Woolworth building at the beginning of the movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so I kept thinking, I was like, well, maybe there's little tiny bugs, there's big tall ones, there's like medium ones, there's, you know.
Uh-huh.
But apparently this is all just, the perspective is everything in this film.
Yeah.
Part of my question here is, it goes back to like, what does Monster want? Which is, we just watched this monster like writhing in pain and lashing out in pain, right? Like it thrashes at the helicopter because it's like
It's being
you're
attacked.
you're attacking this animal.
It's
and
all
it is
defensive.
fighting
I think
back.
everything that the monster is doing is defensive.
I think so too. It's just weird that in the park,
Yeah.
it's like pausing and standing still and just staring at HUD. It's such like a horror movie trope.
Yeah.
For the big scare, for the big killing of HUD in this moment, because it snatches right at the camera, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
And
just
then
like a
chomps
cat.
on. And
It's just a cat. It just wants to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just suddenly
play
like
with its food.
13 seconds ago, you were being like bombarded with like 50 kiloton bombs, and now you're like, ooh, look at this tiny little birdie.
Oh,
But that kind of makes sense if you are a baby.
Totally.
And you're
Or
like-
a cat. Yeah.
Like your attention can just shift focus. Like I fell down. Oh, but like
Look
a
at that.
bird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Oh, it's so close. It's right under. It's right there.
Yeah.
Should I eat it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's moving all weird.
Yeah, it makes sense. I can think about the number of times that like my cats have been startled by a loud noise in the house,
Mhm.
and they'll shoot straight in the air and run into the other room and then just stop, like lick their leg
Yep,
and then curl up and
nothing
go
happened.
to sleep.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, all right.
Anyway,
Okay.
R.I.P. HUD.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
HUD.
He gets beaked in
Filming
half.
until the very end.
Yeah.
And it's kind of odd
Never
that they,
dropped
like,
that camera.
that they like take the camera from around his like severed head or something. I was like, ew, you guys. Literally body not even cold.
Oh, there's also a great shot where like HUD's dead and he's out of. It's like the camera. He's dropped the camera finally, and it's like pointed at his dead face.
Uh-huh.
But the autofocus on the handycam keeps shifting between like his dead face and like blades of grass because it doesn't know what to focus on.
Yeah.
And that's just like another really nice like found footagey touch of you know the style, the subgenre.
Yeah. Because it's like the blades of grass, his face, and then like the sort of Manhattan skyline at dawn.
It's
'Cause
really
we've now
beautiful.
essentially gone like it's now daytime.
Mm-hmm.
We know it is. Last chopper was at 6 a.m.
It's past 6 a.m.
Yep. But that was one of those moments where I clocked that as well, Brie, and I was like, this is where like I feel like we're getting some actual like artsy in our found footage, and I'm liking it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean,
a little
honestly,
bit right at the end.
Like, well, the stuff with the recorded, the pre-recorded, the little blips of like flashback, we'll call them, of like the tape that existed under the original tape. Like that's also, I think, a very innovative kind of use of the found footage thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The
like I don't think I've seen
tape.
that before. Yeah. And I thought that's like a very cool idea. I don't know if this film uses that idea like to the extent that it could be used, but it's a cool idea.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got now we're just down to Rob and Beth, and they've gone back for the camera, and then they're hiding in like a little, kind of like a little pedestrian tunnel inside Central Park.
Yeah,
and Rob is doing you got to have the testimonial. Make sure we pose for the Christmas picture, and just like, oh, my name is Rob blah blah, and I'm something attacked us in this city, killed my brother and friends, and then he turns it on to Beth, and he's like, do it. Tell him, Beth.
And she's kind of
what?
like, what?
She's
No. What are you
She's literally just
about?
like shaking with trauma, just like, what?
It's so
You want
stupid.
me to do a senior yearbook quote right
Yeah.
now?
Stay sweet. Have a kick-ass summer, honey.
Yeah. This is like, in case I die, which
Because
I'm
like,
about
yeah,
to.
Rob is so emotionally stunted that he's like, tell me you love me, but do it on the camera. Don't
Yeah, I know.
don't
Wait, no,
talk to
kiss
me.
again. But like, here, wait, no. So
So
dumb.
douchey. So
How
bad.
does he know? How does he know we're watching this?
Also, they're blowing up the island. Fuck the camera. I mean, apparently the camera does survive
Apparently
the
the camera does
explosion,
survive.
but
Camera survives.
like I don't know what type of bomb that they're dropping that's going to destroy all residential homes and the monster and then leave a camcorder flying around in an open field. Who knows? But
I mean, for Operation Hammer Time sounds pretty sounds pretty intense though.
uh-huh. Well, Beth is like, I don't know why this is happening. Boom, explosion, Operation Hammer Time. Kaboom.
And then
Yeah.
rubble. I love you. I love you.
Yeah.
Too legit to quit. And
Too legit to quit.
And then the camera, the videotape, the DAT recorder, whatever, cuts back to the previous recording, April 27th in Coney Island. And it's evening time there, and they're on the Ferris wheelie thing, and he's like, well, we're almost out of tape.
The Wonder Wheel, that's what it's called.
The Wonder Wheel.
The Wonder Wheel.
Say something, honey. And she's like, it's the best day ever. And then I didn't clock this at all, only learned about it from Wikipedia of like the thing splashing down in the background.
Yes, I had to watch it 5 times.
I did not see that at all.
It's so distant. It's like screen right. It's a little black. It's like a meteor.
Interesting.
And then it hits the ocean, and there's a tiny little splash in the ocean.
Okay.
Which is, I guess, supposed to be sort of like the arrival of the monster 1 month prior.
And then it just incubates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just like, swims its way.
I love that. I'm glad that you all found that on Wikipedia.
I wish it was more obvious.
Yeah.
Visually, because it's so easy to miss, and it seems important.
I do sort of like that it's it's kind of an Easter egg, because in some ways I'm like, I don't need an explanation as to how the monster got here
true.
for this movie. It's just sort of fun, but it's kind of interesting. And then we get credits, and then there's a post-credits thing that happens.
Oh my God, is there? I don't think I watched that. What is it?
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna read you how it describes from Wikipedia, because to watch it is to not really be that impressed. Like, it's the final like Motion Picture Association of America logo is
no
up
animals were hurt in the making of this film.
And you hear the digital static, and you hear a voice like really digitized, it really awkwardly say "help us," but according to Wikipedia, I did not do this because I'm not breaking out recording equipment. It says a voice can be heard saying, help us. When played in reverse, it says it's still alive.
That makes no sense. How could it? That's not what help us reversed would say.
The thing is, like, it's sort of hard to describe, but the way they say help us is real shaky. Like, it does sound like speech in reverse. Nope.
Cloverfield. I live in Cloverfield.
I am the arm. I sound like this.
Cloverfield 3.
Yep. So that's what happens at the end of this movie. And then
so that's like, is that supposed to be like they did survive? Is that what the post credits moment?
I think it's saying the
Maybe
monster's just, like, still alive.
Oh,
I think it's saying
help us.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're buried in rubble.
Listen, it's it's in the same reason why they don't explain half of the shit that happens in this movie. It's just them adding
why did Lizzie Kaplan explode?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe you'll find out in a future prequel. Maybe you won't. It just feels like a creepy thing to tack on to the end. And then the Easter egg is for anyone who clocks that it sounds like reverse voice and wants to record it, play it backwards for themselves, and hear them say it's still alive. That doesn't even make any sense why, if a military person is radioing help us, why they would then have it backmasked. Like, there's no level of like code breaker
Yeah.
activity that you're like, let's backmask all of our
Oh my
text.
Listen, the early 2000s, we loved all that Black Ops shit.
Yeah.
We
true.
loved it.
Yeah. There is like a moment in Beth's apartment where somebody is like, maybe our government made this monster.
Yeah, I know,
Uh-huh.
right?
And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Strom Thurmond was involved in making a giant like gobbledygoo monster, grabby hands.
Yes.
All right, shall we rate this movie?
Yes, let's.
Okay, great. All right, so how approachable is this if you are horror film averse on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the least approachable and 10 being super easily approachable for the horror averse? Yeah, I would give like Cloverfield maybe like 4 beheaded monuments out of 10.
Mhm.
Like I don't know, like it's got the splattery blood in it. Like the blood is mostly in the Marlena scene.
And that's kind of just like with the bite and then like behind the tent.
Yeah, blood just splatters against the thing,
Splatter.
but there's no real gore.
No.
I think mostly just movie is really intense. Like it
Mhm.
just doesn't let up. It's a disaster film. There's a lot of action, a lot of noise. And like unlike something like Independence Day, it feels super real. Like you were saying, Brie, like the
Yes.
special effects are very real looking. It definitely looks like news footage of a 9/11 level or higher disaster.
Yeah.
So there's that. Plus, add to that for content warnings, like spider-like parasites are quite a bit. If you are arachnophobic, even though they're not technically spiders, they look
But
very.
they're very spidery.
They're
Yeah,
very
spider
face
crabs.
huggery. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, spider crabs,
Mm-hmm.
spabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like, listen, if you went through 9/11, if you were close to that, if that was something that could trigger anything for you watching footage of that, this movie is definitely playing off of that a lot. So there's that. So let's say 4 out of 10 in terms of approachability. What do you think, Cecil, as a horror film?
As a horror film, this is kind of a juggernaut. I kind of forgot how like this movie was really popular when it came out. And did kind of take the found footage genre carefully out of the hands of the Blair Witch crew, and then
Mhm.
sort of passed it, into, and it's such a, like for horror movie lovers, there's a lot of these out there, but I think Cloverfield is probably one of the biggest budget. We rolled prestige. This is kind of the like what you can really do with the found footage style when you have like Hollywood levels of money. It's exciting. Like it's a really, I mean, aside from the wedding testimonials, which you just have to kind of get through, it's like a really fun adventure ride.
Yeah.
I don't know, like by the time they're even just like going through the tilt-a-whirl apartment complex, there's no monsters. It's just sort of dark, but like everything is kind of like twisted, and I don't know. I thought it was pretty great on a almost second watch. So for that, I'm gonna give it 7 out of 8 spider crabs.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna give this movie 1.5 margaritas before you watch
Yes,
it.
yes, that's it. Just do not watch it with your nose pressed up against the screen.
Yep. What
can
about you,
highly
Brie? Is there
advise.
anything you would like to rate this for? Adorableness of alien babies? Anything along those lines?
I mean, I think like what Cecil was saying, like as a found footage, like to break it down further into the just that subgenre, it is super innovative. Like combining those, it's like a $25 million budget. Blair Witch is like 35K.
Yeah.
And so like combining those incredible special effects with like this shitty lo-fi cinematography, like the effect of that is so incredible and unexpected and realistic and scary. So also like using the pre-recorded footage as like a flashback device is super cool. And like you mentioned, this is under 90 minutes. This is 73 minutes long, and it is totally playing with like that is the LP runtime of a mini DV tape.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's like
Interesting.
using that, structure also. So I'd say like as a found footage movie, 8 out of 10 grabby appendages.
Great. I'm imagining the one with the little Tyrannosaurus Rex head on the end.
Yeah.
All right, let's figure out what movie we will watch next. Cecil, you have a scare die. I have a style die. We'll roll those two things up, see what movie matches those two things. So if you roll a 1, our next movie scare is a ghost. 2, psycho killer. 3, killer games, some type of mind gamey thing. 4, zombie. 5, animals attacking. Or 6, wild card, whatever scare we want.
That's a 2.
We're going to do that psycho killer.
Nice.
Just gonna say.
All right. So we've got your psycho killer, and we're going to match it up to the style that I'm going to roll. If I roll a 1, our style is Asian horror film. 2, something pre-1950s. If I roll a 3, it has to be a sequel, prequel, or remake. 4, urban horror movie. 5, a psychological horror movie, maybe something mostly bloodless. Or 6, something gloopy and gloppy, something just with ooze, slime, blood, guts, whatever. Okay, here we go. Here's our style. I got a 3, sequel, prequel, remake, psycho killer.
Ooh.
All right. So we put a few on our list. And also we have a Letterboxd account that you can follow us on. You can check all of our lists. We put potential matchups for these die rolls on there, so you can come contribute ideas to those, and we'll read them on our show and maybe even select one of the ones you guys give us. And then, of course, we have Brie Williams here. So, Brie, if you have ones you want to throw in, please do. Here's what I put on here. I threw on really any of the Scream movies you could do.
Scream 2. I would advocate for Scream 2.
Scream 2 is a great one.
Scream 2 is really good. I put Scream 5 just because it was the Radio Silence reboot, so it felt like a brand new sort of reimagined Scream.
Yep.
But like,
Yep.
honestly, I'll watch any of the Scream movies. I believe Janina Mathewson has the theory that it is like the most all-around solid film franchise that Hollywood has made. That like,
nothing. All of Hollywood? Out of all of Hollywood.
Yeah, when you talk about like the film franchises, because there's no Scream movie that is like, say, better than one of the Star Wars movies, or like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, or I'm sorry, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, better than any of the Scream movies. You could easily argue that. However, Temple of Doom sucks. So like Scream, I haven't seen the latest Scream, but for the most part, they're all pretty solid. They're good Agatha Christie slasher movies.
Yeah.
And they always do something different to like play with the form and of like where they are in the franchise. It's always very self-referential and clever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I put on here the remake with Elijah Wood of Maniac.
See, I've not seen this.
I haven't either.
So this was like the first thing I thought when we rolled this combination. I was like, oh yes, that remake of, because Maniac is such like kind of a classic slasher horror, you know, like define the psycho killer slasher genre kind of thing.
Yeah. And then of course there's so many really like easy ones you could do, right? Like you could do any of the Friday the 13th movies or whatever, but I'm like, I don't want to watch the Friday the 13th movies, so I didn't put them on here.
Definitely.
But I did put on Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
It was a follow-up to Manhunter.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't doing film franchises then, but we had already done Red Dragon. We had already made Red Dragon into a movie starring Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter. And then we cranked this one out.
Yeah.
And then there was the franchise board. So it's a little bit of a leap because this was a reboot, sort of more, but that's what it is, remake.
It's a reboot in a series.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm right there with you, Jeffrey.
Yeah. I think it counts. Before we get to Letterboxd, Brie, is there any that are coming to your mind?
The first thing I thought of was Halloween 2.
We have done that one.
We've done that one. Okay.
Yep. Halloween 2 was a wild fucking ride.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep thinking about that. See if you have another one.
Okay.
But we'll get to what our Letterboxd folks think. And we'll go through these. Cecil, do you want to read off some of
Sure, I'll
from
get
the
us
top? See what
started.
people have.
Mars Kelly suggested the Carrie remake, the 2013 Carrie remake. Brave Crab, Freddy versus Jason. It's a sequel to Psycho Killers. Cronenberg TA threw out X or Pearl.
Oh, Pearl. technically
Oh.
counts.
Because
yeah.
Wow.
I've not seen any of them, but I know they're kind of like one is a sequel to the other or a prequel to the other.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
Pearl
sure.
is a prequel to
Pearl is a
X.
prequel.
Mhm.
Okay, so that'd be kind of cool.
Yes.
Oh, Don Pepperoni threw out a pretty good one, which is the Rob Zombie Halloween, which we have not watched for the show.
Oh,
But
interesting.
kind of talking about like a reboot or a reimagining. Those Rob Zombie Halloweens are actually kind of fun in my humble
Interesting.
opinion. Fifth Hammer talks a little bit about Manhunter. It's kind of what you just said. The idea, it's in a series. Ganymede's Cup, American Psycho 2, American Psycho All American Girl.
Yep.
This is a standalone sequel to American Psycho with Amelia Kunis as the psycho killer college student and William Shatner as her criminology professor. So bad it's good. Let's see what else we got here. Diamond Dog says Split, which is sort of in the universe.
Yeah.
like
Shyamalan.
that sort of universal, I don't know, whatever thing he's building down there.
Unbreakable, I think it's part of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. The House of Wax remake in 2005 suggested by Madam Trash Heap. Again, a Red Dragon as a remake of Manhunter. Psycho 2, which is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah,
because
Weaponized Toaster gives us Psycho 2. Yeah.
I've never seen any of these Psycho sequels. Like I've seen Psycho,
Yeah, I haven't
but I've
either.
never seen Psycho 2, Psycho 3. And it was funny because that was the sort of schlocky horror, like, oh my God, Psycho 4, Psycho 5, or whatever.
Yeah.
Were being made kind of when I was a kid. So I missed Psycho 2 and Psycho 3, which are, I don't know, Psycho 2 I've now like seen in other things, like reference it, and it actually, I don't know, I'm very intrigued by Psycho 2.
Oh, that is interesting.
What else we got here? MD
M. DeCoste.
M. DeCoste, Scream 2, and also recommends The Bat from 1959, a remake of a 1926 film.
Wow.
And Play with Vincent Price as Agnes Moorehead.
Yeah.
Sounds, if we want to get like, back
Old
in the
school.
day with it. Oh, and Oz Conway suggested Terrifier 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't seen the Terrifier movies, and I think Terrifier 2 is supposed to be better than the first.
Yeah, nor have I. They even say they prefer the second one to the first one. Unhinged and has a campy psycho killer
kind
of vibe.
Yeah, Terrifier comes up quite a bit on these lists. It does look kind of like a new Freddy sort of thing, like somewhere in that realm of
cool.
Like disgustingly terrifying, ugly villain that is also funny, I think.
Deliciously evil.
Yeah, deliciously evil. That's such a good way of phrasing that.
Yes.
Okay, so let me read back ones that we have here. Like Scream 2, I think Brie brought that up earlier, but then we had a resuggestion of it on here. Maniac, you haven't seen, neither of us have seen it, which is kind of a draw.
I've also not seen the source material either.
No, I've never seen the original either. Silence of the Lambs, a classic. Pearl, which is a movie I've been wanting to get to. And you have not, neither of us have seen that one either.
No.
Halloween, the Rob Zombie version.
Rob Zombie Halloween.
And Psycho 2, which neither of us have seen, but we did cover Psycho very early in this show. Those are the ones standing out. Am I missing any? And Terrifier 2 from Oz Conway.
Oh, I'd also throw in House of Wax.
Oh, that House of Wax,
just because it is Paris Hilton's.
That's right.
It has Paris Hilton in it. That might be kind of fun. That's definitely a remake.
Brie, what are we missing?
I don't know. I was thinking Joker, but then I was like, that's not really horror. It is a killer and a prequel, but it's fabulous.
It's just a way to kill, a few hours.
Yeah, more of like a crime thriller, I guess. But if I could vote,
please, I would love your vote.
You should watch. I would vote for Pearl, especially because neither of you have seen it, and I don't think that. I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
I love it. That is enough reason for me.
I think that's where we should go. That's kind of deep down where I was hoping for, because I really want to see it. And
I've been saving myself for the show.
Yes. Yeah, well, that was super simple. Thanks to Cronenberg TA for that original reference, and also for a recommendation, and thanks for picking us a movie, Brie. That sounds really
Yeah.
good. Well, easy enough. Thank you all for listening. Thanks, Cecil, for talking with me. And Brie, where can people find you and your work in this world?
Well, my work can be heard on the hit podcast Welcome to Night Vale.
Yes.
The hit Audible series Unlicensed,
Heard of
and
it.
various other audio drama series over the years, which are all linked on my barely breathing X account at Brazilianaire.
Perfect. If y'all have thoughts on Cloverfield or ideas for other movies that would have been good psycho killer prequel, sequel, or remake, let us know on Instagram at randomhorror9 or over on our Patreon, where we have public discussion threads for every episode, and you do not have to be a paying member at all to participate in those discussions. So watch Pearl from 2021, 22, somewhere around there, with us this week, and come on back next Tuesday for a new episode. Have a restful night with no one at the party trying to force you to do a testimonial or nothing. Boo.
Boo.